914-699-0145. Also check out our juice bar with our smoothies, boosters, mash, and therapy juices. 408 East Sanford Boulevard. Ice cream, jerk chicken, roast fish and corn, and over them again. We sold it.
CB Jerk Center, 150 West 3rd Street, Mount Vernon, New York. Catering for all occasions. Call and place your order at 914-863-0188 or 646-294-3939 or 917-870-4088. Check out our menu. We have curry goat, curry chicken, fried chicken, brown stew chicken, jerk and stew pork, stew peas, oxtail, brown stew fish, $12 and upwards. Goes by order. Steamed fish, $12 and upwards. Also goes by order. Steamed vegetables. All meals come with white rice or rice and peas with vegetable. Check out the soup menu. We have chicken soup, red pea soup, seafood soup, goat head soup at CB Jerk Center, 150 West 3rd Street, Mount Vernon, New York. Catering for all occasions. Big up the top chef Conroy and his wife. Big up the two grill masters, Courtney and Ron. So remember to check out CB Jerk Center, 150 West 3rd Street, Mount Vernon, New York. Catering for all occasions.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. Have you ever experienced a bad workmanship? Someone who work at your house and you're not satisfied, but you can't find good help? Well, look no further. Quicklin Construction is a licensed general construction company that's fully insured for the 5 boroughs and the Westchester. A one-stop construction company that will cater to your needs. Experience is what counts in this business, and we have the experience for more than 35 years. So if you need a paint job, call us. If the roof is talking to you, call us. If your garage won't open, call us. If you need a new paint job, call us. If you try to do the work yourself and your wife won't talk to you, call us. 914-665-0106. Quicklink Construction. No job too big, no job too small. Just call us. 914-665-0106. 914-665-0106. We have the experience. Quicklink Construction.
And I know.
Pass me a flash, let me tell the things them. People never know the rum talk and me a sing them. Ali Brand the rum boss I represent. Remember Dill's rum, Butcher's wine and Spirit Inc. Of all of the alcoholic beverages you need. From a pink to a anchor. Moscato, Merlot, Hennessy, Douce, Tiger Bone, Ginseng, Rare Nephew rum, Appleton, Myers rum, Stone Ginger wine, Red Label, Taylor Port, Fairbanks, Mount Gay, Sangster, Rum Bar, Jamaica Brandy, Syrah, Grey Goose, Jack Daniels, Johnny Walker and more. You're drinking or joking, open hours. Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Friday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday. Address, 104 South 4th Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York, 10550. It makes sense to save you dollars. Contact 914-699-7267. Email us at DutchessWineandSpirit@gmail.com. Must be 21 and over to drink. 40 minimum delivery. Drink responsibly.
Plead my cause, oh Jah. I don't know Julex I represent for Linkage Radio. 104.5 FM. I deaf them.
Come rave with us.
Come rave with us.
The Weekend Rave.
The Weekend Rave.
The Weekend Rave.
The newest trendy hip hangout spot on radio.
Fridays 6 to 8 p.m. Saturdays 4 to 8 p.m. on Linkage Radio.
101.7 and 104.5 FM. With Booker Chromatic,
Jimmy Q from Echo Vibe Sound, and DJ Wizzy.
Tune in for the latest in entertainment news. The hottest songs in dancehall,
hip-hop,
reggae, soca, and more. Plus, we hang out and chat with artists and celebrities every week. It's a chill spot, a party spot, a vibes. Tune in on Linkage Radio
101.7 and 104.5 FM. Fridays 6 to 8 p.m. and Saturdays 4 to 8 p.m. Check us out online at linkageradio.com and follow us on Instagram at The Weekend Rave.
The Weekend Rave. The Weekend Rave.
The Weekend Rave.
The Weekend Rave.
You're locked on to the number one radio station. Number one radio station.
They play the best music.
Number one. The best music. For your listening pleasure.
Well, 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 well. Let me go again, let me go again. Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, everyone. Hi, 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 wherever you are. You can see my hand waving or my hands waving if you are on the YouTube channel. And if you're on the radio, just say hi, Lady D. I'm picturing you in my mind. You know, you're in your red sweater today with your pretty accessory, your yellow accessory, and you can just zoom in your mind, picturing what I'm doing today. 14 minutes after 5 o'clock. Good afternoon to you. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. Welcome to Inside the Zone, the community platform where information is guaranteed. I am your host, Lady D, Denise Gomez. It is my pleasure having you. Thank you for joining me today. Take a seat, relax, put your foot up, cross your legs, you know. Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine or something, whatever you wish, whatever your heart desire is. Because I'm keeping your company until 7 p.m. Don't forget the show is brought to you by Cooler Runnings, Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nareed Avenue in the Bronx. Hashtag me. Check them out. Host Lady D. Hashtag ITZ Radio. Hashtag ITZ Community Live. Hashtag ITZ Voiceover Prof. Hashtag ITZ Radio Personality. It's all about Inside the Zone. Email me at insideofthezonelyc@gmail.com. Catch me on social media, Facebook, Lady D Denise Gomez. Facebook, Inside of the Zone with Lady D. And on my Instagram page, Lady D Denise Gomez. The Monday Drive, the Monday Drive, the Monday Drive. What a program I have lined up for you this afternoon. The Monday Beat, chasing the Monday blues out of here with great music coming up. Voices, the intellectual voice that has everyone talking. Who is talking today? Ha. Using your voice is a political choice. Using your voice is a political choice. Amanda Gorman. And of course, in a Jamaica ting, river talk. Jamaica would not be the same without its rivers. Rivers in Jamaica are plentiful and can be found in almost every parish. At 6 p.m. last week, we kicked it off, didn't we? Prevention and action, addressing crime in Jamaica. We kicked that off, and today, guess what? We're coming back with part 2. Special guest, Captain Dr. Rupert Francis, Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force. And of course, Stafford returns. Stafford Grant, Sector Chair, Jamaica Diaspora Northeast USA Crime and Citizen Security. And we do have a third person joining our panel this evening, Oswald Robinson, President, Jamaica Ex-Police Association, Bronx Chapter. What an evening, what an evening. Remember to send the word out. Let someone know at 6 o'clock. There's a hot discussion. Crime. What are we going to do about that? 17 minutes after 5 o'clock, and we take it down as we start the show off officially. You know how I do on a Monday. Did I tell you that it's Reggae Monday? I did, didn't I? Yes, since last week. Since the month started, as a matter of fact, it's Reggae Monday. Who am I kicking it off with this afternoon? You want to know, don't you? And it's my duty to tell you. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. My name is Denise, Lady D Gomez. It's Inside of the Zone, the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know, in the city you walk, drive, and reside.
See you on the street, looking neat. Girl, you look so sweet. You look so sweet. When I see that neon light shining bright, when you're out of sight, out of sight, the way you pass me by, babe. What's going on? I know the scores. I know the roles. Baby, I know what's going on. I know that you know. I know the score. I know that you know. I know the roles. I know the score. What's going on? Yeah, yeah, baby. Wow, wow. Girl, I see you on the streets making calls to friends you know. And when I passed you by, you held your head up high like you never know. And by the look in your eyes, girl, I could realize, baby, I know the score. I know the role. Baby, I know what's going on.
The pressures of your life and it tough. No stay down, mama, time pick it up. No bother with the down, full style, strictly up, full vibes. I pick it up when the bills, them, the rent and the mortgage due. when me chalice. When your best friends are gone and it's only you. Yeah, like up a split, turn up the music. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and you rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet. Yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and you rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet. Yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet. For every pain there's a melody. Yeah. For every trouble there's a harmony that brings everything together. So make we sing together. And who say life no order? And every man got this struggle. I beg you to help me, Lord, and let me overcome my struggles. Skanking sweet, everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and you rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet, yeah. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and you rock with me. You know feel a reggae music sweet, yeah. Skanking sweet. We skanking till our morning come. Until the day when my troubles are gone. Hallelujah. We're grooving in our jazz. We're grooving all my troubles away. Skanking. Everybody wanna feel like your troubles and the rockin'. You know feel a reggae music sweet. Yeah. Skank. Everybody wanna feel like your troubles and the rockin'. You know feel a reggae music sweet. So skanking, grooving, skanking, skanking, grooving, yeah. Body was skanking sweet. Everybody was skanking sweet. Body was skanking sweet. Everybody was skanking sweet. Yeah. I'm gonna be skanking. I wanna be skanking. I'm gonna be skanking. I'm gonna be skanking. Whoa.
Should have gone away and left you like I did, girl. I thought you'd take me back, but I was just a little bit late. I was born a winner. I know I am, yes I am. Whoa, whoa, yeah. I was born a winner. My lonely days and my lonely nights, girl. On the outside looking in, dreaming of holding you tight. Well, I guess I've had my day. You let me go my way. It's me who tell me 'cause I know. My lonely days and my lonely nights, girl, on the outside looking in, dreaming of holding you tight. Well, I guess I've had my day, you let me go my way. It's me who has to pay. A loser they call me, but now I'm a winner, boy.
What am I talking about? It is, of course, the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. My name is Denise Lady D. Gomez. Good afternoon to everyone tuning in on a Monday. You could have been elsewhere, but you're spending the time with me. This is, of course, 104.5, 101.7, broadcasting on CaribbeanVibesRadio.com. signradio.net. Hello to one and all. Pinch yourselves and say, guess what? I'm good. I can stretch my hands. I'm breathing. That is so important that you're breathing. So you and I are here today. Isn't that nice? Of course. Reminding you, you can also call me at 914-600-4228, 914-600-4228. The show is brought to you by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Narita Avenue in the Bronx. Set your watches and your clocks. It is 5:30 p.m. Welcome to Voices, the intellectual voice that has everyone talking. Whose voice will you be hearing this afternoon? Let's see. Whose voice are we listening to?
Make it political, which to me, I have two questions for you. One, whose shoulders do you stand on? And two, what do you stand for? These are two questions that I always begin my poetry workshops with students, because at times poetry can seem like this dead art form for like old white men who just seem like they were born to be old, like, you know, Benjamin Button or something. And I ask my students these two questions, and then I share how I answer them, which is in these three sentences that go, I am the daughter of black writers who are descended from freedom fighters who broke their chains and changed the world. They call me. And these are words I repeat in a mantra before every single poetry performance. In fact, I was like doing it in the corner over there. I was like making faces. And so I repeat them to myself as a way to gather myself, because I'm not sure if you know, but public speaking is pretty terrifying. I know I'm on stage and I have my heels and I look all glam, but I'm horrified. And the way in which I kind of strengthen myself is by having this mantra. Most of my life, I was particularly terrified of speaking up because I had a speech impediment, which made it difficult to pronounce certain letters, sounds, and I felt like I was fine writing on the page, but once I got on stage, I was worried my words might jumble and stumble. What was the point in trying not to mumble these thoughts in my head if everything's already been said before? But finally, I had a moment of realization where I thought, if I choose not to speak out of fear, then there's no one that my silence is standing for. And so I came to realize that I cannot stand standing to the side, standing silent. I must find the strength to speak up. And one of the ways I do that is through this mantra where I call back to what I call honorary ancestors. These are people who might not be related to you by blood or by birth, but who are more than worth saying their names because you stand on their shoulders all the same. And it's only from the height of these shoulders that we might have the sight to see the mighty power of poetry, the power of language made accessible, expressible. Poetry is interesting because not everyone is going to become a great poet, but anyone can be and anyone can enjoy poetry. And it's this openness, this accessibility of poetry that makes it the language of people. Poetry has never been the language of barriers. It's always been the language of bridges. And it's this connection making that makes poetry, yes, powerful, but it also makes it political. One of the things that irritates me to no end is when I get that phone call, and it's usually from a white man, and he's like, man, Amanda, we love your poetry. We'd love to get you to write a poem about this subject, but don't make it political. which to me sounds like I have to draw a square but not make it a rectangle, or like build a car and not make it a vehicle. It doesn't make much sense because all art is political. The decision to create, the artistic choice to have a voice, the choice to be heard is the most political act of all. And by political, I mean poetry is political in at least 3 ways. One, what stories we tell, when we're telling them, how we're telling them, if we're telling them, why we're telling them, says so much about the political beliefs we have about what types of stories matter. Secondly, who gets to have those stories told? I'm talking who is legally allowed to read, who has the resources to be able to write, who are we reading in our classrooms, says a lot about the political and educational systems that all these stories and storytellers exist in. Lastly, poetry is political because it's preoccupied with people. If you look in history, notice that tyrants often go after the poets and the creatives first. They burn books. They try to get rid of poetry and the language arts because they're terrified of them. Poets have this phenomenal potential to connect the beliefs of the private individual with the cause of change of the public, the population, the polity, the political movement. And when you leave here, I really want you to try to hear the ways in which poetry is actually at the center on our most political questions about what it means to be a democracy. Maybe later you're going to be at a protest and someone's going to have a poster that says, they buried us, but they didn't know we were seeds. That's poetry. You might be in your US history class and your teacher may play a video of Martin Luther King Jr. saying, we will be able to hew out of this mountain of despair a stone of hope. That's poetry. Or maybe even here in New York City, you're going to go visit the Statue of Liberty, where there's a sonnet that declares, as Americans, give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. So you see, when someone asks me to write a poem that's not political, what they're really asking me is to not ask charged and challenging questions in my poetic work. And that does not work because poetry is always at the pulse of the most dangerous and the most daring questions that a nation or a world might face. What past do we stand on as a people, and what future as a people do we stand for? And the thing about poetry is that it's not really about having the right answers. It's about asking these right questions about what it means to be a writer doing right by your words and your actions. And my reaction is to pay honor to those shoulders of people who use their pens to roll over boulders so I might have a mountain of hope on which to stand, so that I might understand the power of telling stories that matter no matter what. So that I might realize that if I choose, not out of fear, but out of courage to speak, then there's something unique that my words can become. And all of a sudden, that fear that my words might jumble and stumble go away as I'm humbled by the thoughts of thousands of stories a long time coming that I know are strumming inside me as I celebrate those people in their time who stood up so this little black girl could rhyme, as I celebrate and call their names all the same. These people who seem like they were just born to be bold. Maya Angelou, Ntozake Shange, Phyllis Wheatley, Lucille Clifton, Gwendolyn Brooks, Joan Wicks, Audre Lorde, and so many more. It might feel like every story has been told before, but the truth is, no one's ever told my story in the way I would tell it, as the daughter of Black writers who are descended from freedom fighters who broke their chains and changed the world. They call me. I call them. And one day I'll write our story right by writing it into a tomorrow on this earth more than worth standing for.
The voice of Amanda Gorman. Using your voice is a political choice. Do you agree? 914-600-4228. It is Monday. The Monday Drive is here with you, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. At 6 p.m., we have our hot topic. It's another special edition of keeping you in the know with news, happenings, and facts. And of course, we're getting back into prevention and action, addressing crime in Jamaica, Part 2. And I'm hoping that you are spreading the word. You'll be blazing the phone lines with your concerns, your questions, and at the end of the discussion, we ought to have a plan going forward. what will we introduce to our Jamaican government about the crime that we are so concerned about, that many of you last week expressed how you want to go back to Jamaica, you want to go back to your yard, you want to go back home, but you won't do so unless you are sure, absolutely sure and convinced that crime is eradicated. That's the message we want to send, is it not? At 6 p.m. Got more music for you. Of course, it is Reggae Month, and in Reggae Month, this is how I do, because you are with me, keeping my company until 7 p.m. Again, our telephone number, 914-600-4228. Right after, of course, my music selection for you in the Monday Drive. Then I'll be taking you over to, you know where we're heading, right? Yard to Jamaica with a Jamaica ting. Stay with me. What time is it? 5:39 p.m.
Standing across the room, I saw you smile. I said I wanna talk to you for a little while. But before I make my move, my emotions start running wild. My tongue gets tied, and that's no lie. I'm looking in your eyes. I'm looking in your big brown eyes. Ooh, yeah. And I've got this to say to you. Hey, girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat till you can't sweat no more. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more. Girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat till you can't sweat no more. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more. A la 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 long, a la 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 long, 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 long. Come on. A la 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 long, a la 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 long, 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 long. Ooh. So I say to myself, if she loves me or not. But the dread I know that love is his to get. Okay, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. The lyrics goes on the attack. My tongue gets tied, and that's no lie. I'm looking in your eyes. I'm looking in your big brown eyes. Ooh, girl, and I've got this to say to you. Hey, girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat till you can't sweat no more. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more. Girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat till you can't sweat no more. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more. A la 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 long, a la 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 long, 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 long. Ooh yeah. A la 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 long, a la 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 long, 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 long. One more time. A la 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 long, a la 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 long, 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 long. Sing it. A la 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 long, a la 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 long, 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 long. Yeah. Woo, 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 wee. Yeah. I'm looking in your big brown eyes. Ooh, yeah. And I've got this to say to you. Hey. Girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat till you can't sweat no more. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more. Girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat till you can't sweat no more. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more. A la 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 long, a la 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 long, 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 long. Yeah. A
Yeah, that's the voice of the Inner Circle Band. Good afternoon to all the YouTubers this afternoon. You're keeping my company on the YouTube channel. It is Reggae Month celebrated here on Inside the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez. Welcome to Linkage Radio. We bring you the best in roots, rock, reggae, R&B, disco, gospel, calypso, and a host of other selections aired right here on your budding and buzzing station. What did I present you this afternoon? I gave you some Inner Circle. I gave you Freddie McGregor. I also gave you Frankie Paul. And I gave you Chronics with Skankin' Sweet. And of course, I'm making my transition now because, you know, on a Monday, how that go. A Jamaica ting. Hello to all the Jamaicans and all my people from across the Caribbean islands and the world. Okay, leaving out nobody. Want to say a special hello to you. You are celebrating your birthday, aren't you? And it's your wedding anniversary. A baby was born somewhere in the world today. We welcome life. Oh my God. Coo, baby. And someone made their transition today. Yes, someone did. In Jamaica, other parts of the world. As a matter of fact, you and I are right here, right now. Somebody's making their transition. I'm whispering just so you know that we're so grateful to be alive. On time, on target. 5:45 p.m. here inside the zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez. The show is brought to you courtesy of Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. Say the word customer Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I do apologize to my very avid and understanding listeners. You know how these things happen to us every now and again, but I'd like to say hi. You're you listening, and I'm keeping your company.
When you are hungry, come to Cooler Runnings Restaurant. Located at 1802 Nereid Avenue, corner of Wickham Avenue in the Bronx, we specialize in the best Jamaican and American cuisine, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. We offer free in-house delivery, minimum $20 purchase, and we also have Uber Eats. We do barbecue Thursdays, fish fry Fridays, and seafood Saturdays. For more information, give us a call for our address and menu, 718-324-7484. Once again, that's 718-324-7484. Cooler Runnings Restaurant, simply the best Jamaican food.
Yes, it is indeed a very special good afternoon, taking you now into the segment that I call a Jamaica ting. Yes, and if you are a Jamaican from Jamaica, then of course this would suit you just fine, don't you think? It's that familiar sound.
It's a land of special people, a place where champions grow, a magical vibe, so much more than you will ever know. You can't ignore the music, reggae so profound, and when it comes to the track, you know that Jamaica won't back down. On top of the world, we're more than just an island in the sun. Oh, a great nation, Bob Marley said, welcome everyone to Jamaica, sweet Jamaica.
Yeah, welcome to Jamaica, sweet Jamaica. This past Saturday, I do little stuff on social media, right? So I have this thing I call Saturday morning runnings. And in Saturday morning runnings, I was dealing with the days when, as children, our parents would send us to the shop. I told them that I would sing my way to the shop with my list. Sometimes by the time you got there, you're out of breath and stuff. But man, you had a very special shopkeeper. And your parents formed relationships with your shopkeepers, right? So if it was Miss Gladys, or if it was Miss Sylvie, or it was Miss Inez, I'm sure Princess and Serene wondering where I'm going with this. But you had Miss Inez and you had Penny. They were husband and wives, the Osborns. Then you had Miss Sylvie. You had, who else? Round Back Road, Miss Sylvie, and several other shopkeepers. You know, I'm not 12 anymore, so some things will elude me. But anyway. And I remember they would send you to shop, right? And when you go to shop, they give you a list. And, you know, when you get the list, you look at this long list. And in your mind, maybe you say, boy, mama have money, or papa have money, or money come from England, or, you know, money coming from somewhere. But you're not going to bed hungry, right? For many people. But as a child, I used to love when I get this list to go down to Sister Cookie. Sister Cookie was our shopkeeper, and her husband, Brother Mike. And Sister Cookie would take the list from us, man, and then I'm realizing, but it's not one item, it's not two, it's not three, and then it turned out into a big box. And usually on Saturdays, you know, my aunties and my uncle, I don't know, there was something that we were eating, because when I saw my uncle would put up a big box. Anybody remember Fab? This box mark Fab. Pack of stuff. And when you see my Uncle Jim put on that cut on his head and put the big box, as a child, the box looked big. I'm sure it was big. Put that box on his head, man, and then we all going up to shop. But when I'm going to shop by myself, I used to love when they send me to get pigtail and when they send me to get salt fish. Now, note I didn't say codfish. I said salt fish, the real salt fish, the hardback. And I would get my tomato. So, you know, I plan it out. I get my tomato from the fridge. Nobody know that's what I'm doing. I'm taking out my little tomato. And I have it in my little stash away. And I head down to shop. Because you know what's going to happen with the tomato, right? On my way back, I walk slow. And we used to walk through an orange grove to the back of our property. I am walking slowly, man. And there's an art in sneaking off, thieving off a piece of saltfish. You didn't know? You have to take it from a certain angle. And I would strip that fish and bite my tomato and take my time, walk, man, up through the orange grove, fearless. Because when I was growing up, they weren't taking away picnic and stuff, at least not in my community. You didn't hear of that. So we walked fearless. We walked near tombstones, any hours of the night kind of thing, no fear. And I would pick off my own coming from shop, right? By the time I get up, man, put codfish where it's supposed to go, tomato, done, eat off everything. You see, when they're sending me down now to Miss May, down by Birds Island. Miss May used to sell pigtail. You could go on a Friday and get it. And when I go, you know, it's the same principle. Now, this is not through the Orange Grove this time. This is through on Main Road, down Birds Island. And I am doing the very same thing. Picking the poor fish. Picking the poor pigtail. Pick it. So by the time now I reach up to the crossroad, you know, more people up there. So you can do that. People go and see you. And it was the nicest salty tasting something. Because I just loved salty stuff, even today. But I kind of have to back off now. But I love salty things. And so I would be doing all of that and getting away with it. But going to your shopkeeper was fun, endless fun, because a friend of mine sent her response to my post. And she said that they had a shopkeeper, right? And she asked me if I remembered when there was this long key that they used to use to open the shop door. And her shopkeeper husband had a donkey, and the donkey was parked, that was her choice of word, the donkey was parked right outside of the shop. Only to realize that the donkey, the key, By the time they run is only the little string part leave. I could not help myself. I couldn't stop laughing. I found it so hilarious. I'm sure you have a lot of stories of your own that you remember about going to shop when they send you to shop. Shop was one of my thing. Okay, so that is it for my Jamaica ting this afternoon. I have to share bits and pieces of my, years growing up in Penance in Clarendon, and, Princess and Serena are perhaps watching and say, Lord Jesus, Denise. That's a wrap for a Jamaica ting, my story.
It's a land of special people, a place where champions grow, a magical vibe, so much more than you will ever know. You can't ignore the music, reggae is so profound. And when it comes to the track, you know that Jamaica won't back down. On top of the world, we're more than just an island in the sun. Oh, a great nation, by Marley saying,
Only in Jamaica. And you know that nations around the world, they have all the nationals have their stories to tell. But I can give you a story about Penance. Lord have mercy. Welcome to the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside here on Inside the Zone, Linkage Radio 104.5, 101.7 FM. I guess somebody want to tell me a little scoop about their times when, they had to go to shop too. Good afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Monday Drive. Hello.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oswald Robinson.
Oh, Mr. Robinson, you're pretty early. We start at 6. Do you mind calling me back then?
Yes, I'm telling the call at traffic.
Okay, thank you. That's fine. All righty, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say good afternoon. That's one of our guests. He's early, but 6 o'clock is just good. So hello to you, and you. It is reggae month, so I've been playing some great selections. Even my friend Happy was saying, oh, music, and I see her dancing up a storm. Music turn up. Lord, the things we say. I tell you, at 6 p.m., don't forget. So that was Oswald Robinson calling in, and we'll be talking to Mr. Robinson. We'll be talking to Stafford Grant, and we'll be talking to Captain Dr. Rupert Francis this afternoon. And today we are going to do some thing that's, we need to decide what we're about. You want to go back to Jamaica, crime. Even this morning, they woke up to 2 dead people. So all of that I have in my notes. This morning over in Portmore, I'm sure you perhaps heard about it. And so, we're wondering what next now. But no, we're not going to give up. We're not going to give up. So blessed afternoon to you, and you. And, we keep the vibe going here inside the zone with Lady D. And if you have your questions, please note what you want to talk about once the segment starts. So once you call, I'll be looping the calls. As you know, we do have the option to loop the calls. And we ask that you make your comments brief so that we can have a lot of people who are holding in the queue to get their opportunity to ask questions. And of course, our panelists, they will be responding, and we're going to have a good structured conversation this afternoon. So don't forget that. Also, reminding you, the show is brought to you by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Narita Avenue in the Bronx. It is Black History Month. And, some of us have somehow fallen into a mode of thinking that because I had it so hard for my children, and, I never had book, and I never had this and that, you end up literally spoiling your children, bestowing upon them a whole lot of things that they're really not even ready for, because you think that's how you need to flow. But I'm just reminding you that again, as a black person, how our minds are molded and formed, and the patterns that we observe as children, and how we think that we are, entitled. And all those things also have a lot to play with what we demonstrate as we get older, or characteristics that people are observing about us, or temperaments and so on. So as a black person, yes, we can stand up and say, I know what it is to go through struggle. Yes, I don't know what it is to go through very difficult times, but I am disciplined in nature, right? So I'm just putting that out there for everybody. 1 minute to 6 o'clock. And of course, our segment is coming up, Prevention and Action, Addressing Crime in Jamaica, Part 2. I am looking forward to hearing from you. Take the number down, won't you? 914-600-4228, 914-600-4228. That's the number to call us if you'd like to be a part of our discussion this afternoon.
You're not the only one. Yeah! Now welcome to the third world. How you mean? Boom. Tell them say age is a number. Third world no study maths. Richie Daly and me done. Age around a top of tops. Up to now no boy no play guitar. We bad like Uncle Cat. Maurice favor Papa Son. Norris played for Super Cat. Oh, one band so full of talent like the list just never stops. Go on eruption fit like Figgle and can sprint a dozen laps. Steve Locker engineer. Truck back a fear pack. Give the legend them props. Real uptown rebels help with reggae on the map. More money, more problems. Not to say I woulda swap, but it's slowly at the top. Some will say them are your friend, but are you alone a spend? Yes, still every man a shop. And one of the newest things for cop. Man a go on all a rems, cause you don't know the straps. Things sticky like sour sap. And one shepherd to a flat.
It is now 6 o'clock.
They try to be a man, but it gets slow.
Counting down to keeping you in the know.
They need a hand to lift them up when them a drop.
If you're out there, somewhere feeling lonely, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. If you're out there, somewhere feeling lonely, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. So come on inside and tell me how you're feeling. Tell me all about the burdens that you bear.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Keeping You in the Know. Good afternoon.
Yes, hello.
Hello, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, this is Stafford Grant.
Good afternoon to you, Stafford. How are you? Welcome. It's our second time around.
Oh, yes.
And we're looking forward to having a good discussion. I am awaiting Mr. Robinson. He called a little early, so I asked him to call back, and I'm waiting for Dr. Francis as well. And I'm sure Karen Dunkley will be joining us. So how are you? How was your weekend?
Oh, yeah, it was great. Usually good. My weekend was good.
All righty.
So how are you doing?
I'm well. Hold the line, please.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Keeping You in the Know. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mr. Chris will be my co-host. How are you today?
I am doing fine. Thank you very much, madam. How are you?
I am well, and we have Stafford on the line as well.
Hi, Stafford. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. How are you doing, man?
I am doing fine, and thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Oh, great, man. All right.
And we are awaiting Mr. Robinson and Captain Francis. So stay on the line, gentlemen. Don't go anywhere, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, our segment is coming up in a few minutes. Prevention and Action, Addressing Crime in Jamaica, Part 2. What will we be addressing this afternoon? We need to have a spirited conversation with an end result. What will we be telling our government in Jamaica? What's our dictate? We need to do something. We need to go back to our homeland And that's the cry for many people. Stay on the line, gentlemen. Don't go anywhere.
You're not the only one.
Yeah! Now welcome to the third world. How you mean? Boom! Tell them say age is a number. Third world no study maths. Richie Daly and me done. Age around a top of tops. Up to now no boy no play guitar. We bad like Uncle Cat. Maurice favor Papa Son. Norris played for Super Cat. Oh, one band so full of talent like the list just never stops. One eruption fit like Figgle and can sprint a dozen laps. Steve Locker engineer. Drug back a fear buck. Give the legend them props. Real uptown rebels help with reggae on the map. More money, more problems. Not to say I woulda swap, but it's slowly at the top. Some will say them are your friend, but are you alone a spend? Yet still every man a shop. And one of the newest things for cop. Man a go on all a rems, cause you don't know the straps. Things sticky like sour sap. And one shepherd to a flock. See them hustle on the corner while they try to be a man, but it gets lonely on the block. And it's rough in the shop. And everybody need a hand to lift them up when them a drop.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Keeping You in the Know. Hello.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Lady D.
Good afternoon, sir. Who am I speaking with here today?
Oswald Robinson, the president of the Jamaica Ex-Police Association.
Thank you so much for joining
Bronx
us.
chapter.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Robinson. It promises to be quite an informative, engaging, and spirited discussion this afternoon. Are you on board with us?
I am, ma'am. Thanks for having me.
All righty. And we are awaiting Captain Francis, but in the meanwhile, we do have Stafford Grant. He's our sector chair, Jamaica Diaspora, Northeast USA Crime and Citizen Security, and my co-host Chris Wilby. Go ahead, gentlemen, and greet each other so we can become more acquainted this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Robinson. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
And
good to have you on the program, sir. And we look forward to having a great discussion as the program progresses.
All right, it's 6 minutes after 6 o'clock. We will start off the segment. And of course, once Captain Francis joins us, then of course he will just cue in at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the segment Prevention and Action, Addressing Crime in Jamaica. This is part 2. The show is called Inside the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez, and it is a special edition of Keeping You in the Know. My co-host Chris Wilby is online. Go ahead, Chris. Do the usual as we always do. Say your hellos.
All right. Good evening once again to ladies and gentlemen listening in to the show, wherever you're tuning in from. We're happy to have you. As you would have heard Lady D said, we want to address the crime situation in Jamaica. We are outside of Jamaica, but Jamaica is, for most of us, still home. And so whenever we see things not going well in Jamaica, it pains our heart, and we want to address it, and we want to make our contribution. Hence, we are having these programs. And this evening, we will welcome Dr. Rupert Francis, Mr. Stafford Grant, and Oswald Robinson. These people are professionals, and we're looking to them. We're going to be looking to them for answers. What, if anything, the government can do, the citizens of Jamaica can do, and us here in the diaspora can do to change the trajectory of the crime situation in Jamaica. So
thank you so much.
We anticipate a very spirited discussion.
Yes. Good afternoon. We have another caller. Hello.
Oh, it's Mr. Robinson, fella.
Oh, you fell off. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. Our telephone number is 914-600-4228. That is 914-600-4228. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. This is how we start our segment off this afternoon. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, our telephone number is 914-600-4228, 914-600-4228. Mr. Robinson, I would like you to just share a bit of your background for us, your experience, and the position that you hold as president of the Jamaica Ex-Police Association.
Well, I left high school in 1982, and I took the test, and I went straight to the academic like 3 or 4 months after. Because I was too young to be trained as a police officer, I was a police cadet. Didn't start training until I was 18, in July. I was trained for probably 8-9 months, and I graduated in 1984, May, the 30th of May, 1984. I served downtown at the Beat and Foot Division, walking the beat, I know all the streets downtown, King Street, Orange Street. And then I was transferred to the Motorized Patrol Division, which is at that time, it was the only radio car section where we patrolled the entire corporate area. We responded to most calls from 911, from the domestic violence to the bank robbery, to traffic accidents and everything. I migrated in 1989, and I reside in the Bronx. Mm-hmm. So currently I'm the president of the Jamaica Police Association on the Bronx chapter.
All right, thank you so much for that. Stafford Grant, could you, in a synopsis, reintroduce yourself to those who were not privy to our program last week?
Oh, yes. Thanks for having me on, and good evening to the listeners. Yes, I served 18 years in the Jamaica Defense Force, and I would say it is
Stafford? Stafford? Mr. Grant?
Hello?
Could you speak? I'm not sure. You are a bit muffled. You're not coming across very clear.
I'm not coming in clearly?
No, you're going in and out.
Okay. Are you hearing me better now?
All right, continue.
Is it a little better?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I was saying that I served 18 years in the JDF. I served as Zeros Department, JDF, on behalf of very good experience out there on the streets. And, one of the worst period of my time in JDF was between 78 leading up to the 1980 election. And I was jumping to we never go back to that type of situation at that time. At present, I am the president of the Jamaica Exposure Association, the New York chapter. And I am also working very closely with the new division of the Jamaica Defense Force Veterans Association. So all our exposures out there, we got to make use of the Veterans Association and also our exposure association in the Bronx. The crime situation in Jamaica is one what we take very seriously. And as the
excuse me a moment. Mr. Grant? Stafford?
Hello?
Are you moving around? Because we are...
No, I'm sitting down.
Okay, we're hearing some background noise there. But somehow you're muffled. We are trying our best to hear you.
Okay, I'm alone here. Let me see if I can. Is it better?
All right, go ahead. We'll see how it sounds now.
Okay. I'm wondering if I am so close to watching your streaming here. Okay, let me see. Hello?
All right, it's 13 minutes after 6 o'clock, and we're getting into our discussion. The segment ends at 7 o'clock. And so, Mr. Grant?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start the conversation now. We're 13 minutes into our time, and we would like to start off with Mr. Robinson. Now that you have expressed to us your level of experience on the ground, and now you're here in the U.S. I'm sure you're still very much connected to Jamaica and the crimes that we are experiencing in Jamaica and across the world. We hear crime, our hearts just start beating rapidly because we say another person or several people have died. This morning in particular, there is a headline that told us that police investigators, they were now at the scene in Portmore, St. Catherine, where the bodies of a man and a woman were found this morning. And the man has been identified as Nicholas Newville, a coach at Calabar High School, while the woman's identity is not yet known. So we woke up to this morning. Share with us what you believe should be done concerning crime in Jamaica. What strategies? There are so many that we need to take. So we here in the Jamaican diaspora and across the world can feel safe because there are people here who voiced last week they would like to return to Jamaica, but they are scared out of their wits.
Okay, when it comes to crime in Jamaica, it always comes down to the police. The police is the last rung on the ladder. However, the police, I think the Jamaican police, they're doing a good job. But the thing is, when the police arrest someone and they go to court, then it's not in the hands of the police. So the criminal justice system needs to be updated, because Jamaica is becoming a very lawless society. You know, these people, they are not afraid of the police. But the thing is, when a person is arrested, the first thing is that their bail is too low. They should set the bail high that they cannot pay for it, or for serious offenses, those people should be remanded in custody. Because sometimes you could charge a person for murder today and tomorrow you pass the person on the street because they got bail. I don't think it should be like that. And the second thing, I think the sentencing guidelines should be, we should have strict mandatory sentencing guidelines. We should take away the discretion from the judge and they have to adhere the sentences by certain guidelines. Like, they should not have the discretion for certain offenses to say a person gets 5 years just for murder. We should have guidelines where it's probably, 20, 30 years, with possibility of parole. And that, I think, would deter most of these criminals from committing offense, based on the fact that knowing, the consequences that they would have, for what they're doing.
Okay. Now, Chris, do you have a comment before I continue and before I ask Stafford to make a comment?
Yes, Lady D, I have a quick question here for Mr. Robinson. Mr. Robinson, you've made some very valid points, and I totally agree with you. But one of the things, if you could explain to the audience, what is the purpose of your organization right now, the Jamaica Ex-Police Association?
The Jamaica Ex-Police Association Bronx chapter, we are 10 years old. We are situated in the Bronx. We are consisted of we have 40 members. Every year we come to Jamaica as a group, and first and foremost, before we come to Jamaica, we choose a basic school, and we make a significant contribution to that basic school. Another thing that we do, we visit the Jamaica Police Academy, where we liaison with the trainees, we have like a question and answer session where, we make reference to, what we did, when we were in training and, what they are doing now. We also visit with the Commissioner of Police for probably 2 hours, and he, give us a status of, crime in Jamaica, what's going on his plan. We also visit the Jamaica Police Convalescence Home, which is it's like a nursing home for injured policemen. We also make significant contribution to them. Whenever they need like wheelchairs, walkers, and stuff like that, we donate those equipment. Even the newspapers that they subscription they have every day on a regular basis, we are the ones who sponsor those donations. When we used to have sports, that's the time that we used to come around. We sponsor some of them the major races, like the top male athletes, top female athletes, and stuff like that. So every May we journey to Jamaica, as a collective unit, and we do like a give back. And we always start with a church service on a Sunday. We pick a church in the corporate area to attend, and we attend that service. And again, we make a donation towards the Sunday school, so they could do, something for the children. Okay. So that's most of what the Jamaica Police Association is about. And before I go, every summer we do have a back to school giveaway for the children in the Bronx, because we're situated at Beachester Avenue in the Bronx. Mm-hmm. So we have a back to school for all children in the surroundings.
Okay, thank you.
That's what we do.
Okay, so thank you for expressing and explaining to us what your organization does. We laud you for that, because we do know that there are police officers in Jamaica who, after retirement or they are injured on the job or something, they do need that kind of support. And who better to do it than fellow officers who understand the rigors of, policing and the stress and all of that it comes with, and emotional upheavals and so on. Let's take a call before we continue our discussion. Good afternoon. Welcome to the segment Keeping You in the Know.
Yes, good afternoon, Madame. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, I was just want to respond to what Mr. Robinson had have said about how we would fix the problem in Jamaica. I beg to differ on that note.
Which of the notes? Because he mentioned several things.
Well, basically everything that he had said before about the judges and how they go about dealing with the various crimes and punishment.
Okay.
And although we're a nation, it sounds a bit draconian to think that you can, do things. Everyone has a right, but I think there's another way that we can deal with it. Anyway, before we go along, my name is Christopher Dyer. I'm calling from Toronto.
Oh, welcome, Mr. Dyer.
I'm on your program here.
Thank you. Welcome.
I know Mr. Grant had invited me on it as a president of the Jamaica Ex-Soldiers Association.
Yes.
And there can be a better way of dealing with crime in Jamaica if we allow the heads of the security force to do the crime management and take it out of politicians' hands. That's my thing.
Repeat that for us.
No, I'm saying that the only way this can fix is that we take crime management and put it in the police and this military hands and take it out of the politician's hands. That's the only way it's going to fix.
And when you say take it out of the politician's hands, what exactly do you mean?
What I mean is that most of the decisions are made by politicians.
Okay.
Out there, and the military and the head of the police have to go by what they're saying. Okay, so if the heads of the command of the military and the commands of the police force sit down and do a crime plan and say let's tackle it this way, then they have to go up to the politician who controls various decisions let them speak, invite them in, and then they're gonna say no, 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 we can't do that because it's gonna upset my constituency or my place. So therefore, you know, we don't want it this way.
Mhm.
So it's like everything is watered down. It's watered down. Everything is watered down. Fighting crime.
Okay. Thank you so much for your call. I appreciate you calling in. Mr. Robinson or Stafford, who would like to address this gentleman's suggestion, recommendation?
Yes, I really would like to really say something about that. I endorse what Mr. Dyer said, because the fact about it is that the military and the police department has the ability within the law to know the strategies and the things they put in place. Because in too many instances when the security forces do their job and get someone off the street, in no time those guys are back on the street, and those are the works of politicians. But I endorse that, and I think that those are areas that they need to look into and the best way they can work it out. Well, one of the things I would like to emphasize here to all the listeners out there, that Jamaica, in regard of all the high-rising announcement about crime in Jamaica, Jamaica is relatively safe. It is not a situation wherein people are walking around and shooting people.
Yes, we understand.
If you look through the crime rate right now, it is mostly within the areas wherein it is a family feud or it is in the gang scamming situation. But relatively, Jamaica is safe to areas that so to speak. But one of the things I am looking into that created some of the problems in Jamaica is the pressure that is being inserted on people who are living in the inner city, so more to speak, that also are having great difficulty of surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaican authorities need to go back to basics. We need to hold the community responsible for some of the actions that is carried out. They need to go back to start to rebuild the inner city so that, they can have areas where people can invest and investors come in. One of the problems I see there is the zoning. It is very bad there. In housing areas where people are living, so many garages, businesses, bars, and all kinds of people coming in. They need to go back to the basics. Basic things there need to be done, especially within the inner city.
Okay, thank you so much, Stafford. Now, Mr. Robinson, do you have a comment? Chris, do you have a comment?
Before I say anything else, Lady, can we ask each person to mute their microphone when you're not talking, so that as to reduce the feedback, please? We're getting a lot of feedback in my microphone, my earphone. All right. Very, very great point these gentlemen have been making. And there is one area, though, that I believe that emphasis should be placed on the government. And it's in the area of legislation. I believe it is Mr. Robinson who spoke to that, where he spoke about the crime, the police doing their jobs, but the punishment does not fit the crime and stuff like that. So is it that we now need the government to start having legislation to address that kind of a situation? Is that the main thing that needs to be done?
Mr. Robinson? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, stop first. Yeah, I personally think so, because in the old days, when found guilty, of murder was either life imprisonment or the death penalty. Crime was very low. A lot of these people doing these crimes, trust me, some of them are cowards. They don't want to stay in jail like for a long period of time. And yes, I believe that if the guidelines are tougher, it will deter people from committing crimes. If I know I could shoot a man and plead guilty and go to jail for 5 years, they do it. But if they know it will be a life sentence or at least 30 years before parole, I think they would think twice about doing so.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Now, for those of you who are listening and viewing audience, you may call 914-600-4228, 914-600-4228. You can pose your questions, and Mr. Robinson and Stafford would be able to address them for you. Now, may I just say that last week, several months ago, I think it was back in 2020, a headline came out that a 16-year-old boy had amputated a 6-year-old's private parts, cut it off, clean. And we read it, we spoke of it, but you didn't actually hear the voices of the family members who are going through this trauma. And hello, good afternoon.
Dr. Francis.
Hi, Dr. Francis. Welcome. How are you?
How are you, lady, being your guest? I lied
All right,
listening.
Yam lady, hold your thought a moment. Hold on a moment. Dr. Francis, go ahead and greet everyone. Yam lady, hold on. Hold on a moment, Yam lady. Hold on.
Yes.
Dr. Francis, go ahead and greet our audience. Welcome, sir. We were wondering where you are.
Well, good evening to you and your audience, and I'm happy to be on. I was on the radio previously, and we just got off. So my apologies for being a little bit tardy, but nonetheless, I'm here with you, and I'm willing and able to answer the questions you have for me.
All right. Thank you so much. Yam lady, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yes. It was answered by one of your guests there, because my question when he was talking about the first gentleman there was talking, and I was going to ask the question, when we're supposed to take crime from politicians, and I was going to ask him the question, is his organization have anything to do with politics out there? But his question was answered, so
Right.
I'm going to sit back and still go ahead and listen.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Yes, okay. I was just saying that here is a 16-year-old. There is a YouTube video out where they had an interview with the 6-year-old boy's father and an aunt of his. Now, a 16-year-old, for whatever deranged reason, cut off this little 6-year-old boy's private parts. Now, that made headline. What we did not see and hear were the voices of the mother, the father, and an aunt. The little boy is in his psychological state, is encouraging himself that it is going to grow back. The aunt is saying she don't know what to tell him. The father is saying that sometimes it's like he's fine one minute and the next minute he just goes off and he says he's going to kill somebody, and he even told his aunt that he's going to kill her. But that came because there was trauma to him, trauma to his family. So when I watched it, I am not lying to you. Water came in my eyes, and I'm saying, my God, now look at this. Here is a young child, innocent, and this was done to him. In addition, the 6-year-old, they say, only got 3 years, and they feel as though what he has done to their family is just not enough. The sentencing does not fit the crime. But if the child is going through these emotional swings, this minute he's fine, next minute he's not, and he feels his penis is going to grow back, how you tell him it's not going to grow back? And he even said to his aunt he is going to have 10 children. So I am saying to myself, if you are having these kinds of atrocities meted out, it's either a homophobic issue, a senior being murdered when they return home, it's either family killing family over property. There are so many themes of these kinds of murders when they take place, or other harmful things that have done to people. Who looks at the back end of this to say, here is a family with a child who maybe 10 years from today, or maybe a year from now, or 6 months, might just get up one day and do something crazy?
Yeah, well, I'm that is it, wait, let me just ask you a question. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Bad connection here.
Is that Dr. Francis?
Yes, I was about to say that I didn't know where did this case occur.
This had taken place sometime last year.
Okay.
There is a sound, yes, in Jamaica. There's a sound
Okay,
in the
well, let me-
background. I'm not sure if it's on your end or someone else's.
No, it's not my end because I'm by myself. I had to come
Okay.
out of the studio.
Yes.
I'm by myself.
All
There's
right.
a feedback. There's an echo.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that what is happening in Jamaica today is an endemic of what is happening in the society. The minds of the young are focused on things that they should not be focused on. The environment is flawed. The parents are not behaving as parents, and they may be too young to even be parents. And this type of traumatic thing happening to children is not surprising. Because how on God's earth could a child turn on another child and cutting off their penis
Yes.
as a result of anything, what could have caused that child to do that?
Mm-hmm.
No, that child really is going through a lot of psychological trauma.
Yes.
In fact, the post-traumatic stress disorder, which is similar to what happens in army zones.
Mm-hmm.
And if not treated correctly, the person, I don't know, because if the part was reattached, perhaps he has a chance at something. But apparently this was not done.
Well, they plan to do a surgery, she says. I think, like she said, 3 years. I'm not sure, I can't quote her verbatim, but that's almost, I think, what I heard. So I guess they can't do it right away, but they plan to do something.
Okay, well, that is somebody. Maybe if he's somebody, he gets a psychiatrist who knows how to handle this delicate situation, then perhaps he will have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, we need to have the will in Jamaica to attack the crime at its source and to deal with it as effective as possible. And they have to look at the laws. They have to look at community-based policing. They have to look at parenting. They have to look at many different areas to really have an effect on the crime in Jamaica. And my position is this, and has always been, this is where the diaspora comes in, and they can bring, people who have the expertise, who have Jamaican background in particular, who could add some value to what is happening in Jamaica. Assist, not take over, but assist. And of course, it's a very long discussion how to get to that. but I think that is one of the answers to what is happening in Jamaica today. Jamaican lives matter, and we must understand that. We must stop hiding behind that. We need to come out front. You know, I'm going to close by saying this. If a person has a cut and it turns into a sore, and they hide it, it is going to fester and become worse. Right now, we are very fortunate that although our crime has really burst into the xenosphere, that has not really affected us yet. But how long can we hide it?
Mm-hmm.
We have to face it frontal right away.
Yes. Agreed. To our callers and viewers, you may call if you have your burning questions. 914-600-4228, 914-600-4228. Prevention and Action, Addressing Crime in Jamaica, Part 2. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Are you hearing me?
We are hearing you. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, man, I'm Dean Roden, and I'm the diaspora also, and I'd like to give my little 2 cents. Living in especially in the inner city, one of the things I think we can also look at, and as a member of a community in the inner city, we're looking at it. People who have lost loved ones to crime, that really needs to be broken. You know, what are we doing to deal with, because that vengeance, if you notice, there are certain community keep apprised always of that crime going on. If we study crime for the past 20 years living in Kingston, there's only certain community that have this constant relay of crime. You kill my uncle, so I go with a vengeance to get back somebody from your community. We could also look at that avenue, I think that's an avenue that we need to look at. So, how we can stem the relay of the crime and violence.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Dean.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you for calling. Who would like to take that suggestion?
One of the things, Lady D?
Yes.
Yes. One of the things that I am looking at with the crime, as we all talk about the strategies, as we talk about prevention, I think that, as I said before, the basis, we are overlooking a lot of stuff that is not being done, that used to be done in the days. Take, for instance, the streets in Jamaica are not marked, they are not labeled of the avenues. There is no way one would understand it is a one-way. The bus stops are not marked. There's a lot of things that is missing that create problems for the citizens of the community, of which they are being pressured by the police when they do certain things, like they park a car somewhere, or they may go into a building, or do something that unaware that they were breaking the law. Mm-hmm. Now, many of these people are...
Hold on a moment. Hold your thought a moment. Hello, there's someone talking in the background. Do you mind muting your phone, please? All right, continue, sir.
Yes, some of these things like in the days need to be reinforced. In areas where in that you have shops or things like that, we need to have the price inspectors. We need to have back things that used to be there, so to have the community run better. Because there are too many pressure on the people within the community, and there are additional pressure again for them to pay the fines and other things like that is being put up onto them. So we have to find ways of preventing our people from getting out of hand, rather than say, okay, you did the crime, then you have to pay the time. But why did he commit the crime? People are stressed. People are pressured. So we got to look back in the system, what are not being done. They need proper housing. They need schools, better schools, better medical facilities. We need to go back to the basics to see what is going on in the community. And that's part of my take to say that we need to have a prevention problem situation in place.
Might I say that my contribution to that, everything begins in the home. A child is born into a family, and when that child starts to grow, they're hearing, they're seeing. The moment when they turn 2, 3, they're able to tell you no, yes, decision making starts to take place. And if the family unit is not structured with discipline, love, principles, the do's and don'ts of life as your early foundation, so by the time we get out into the world and we start to interrelate with other children and so on, who they don't take time to impress upon each other what my mother say, what my father say, what my father do, what my mother do, what they speak, what they hear, they start to repeat it, and it becomes a norm. So can you imagine if a child is being raised, and it doesn't matter in what facet of the society, if a child is not being raised with morals and principles, so by the time they get out there, they can know the do's and don'ts, and that their willpower will not be weakened by other children, other people. It begins in the home. So if a mother who has 5 children, 6 children, she works alone, and she has a boy or a girl in her home, and suddenly they're appearing with all kinds of things that she didn't give them, she didn't work for it, no uncle and auntie didn't give them, where did they get it from? So if that's kind of influence, I believe, has really engulfed our homes, and then by these children start to get exposed to all kinds of offerings by people who they should not even be talking to. How do we handle that? That's what's happening in our communities. And so it's just accepted that it's Tom, the area leader, or John or Mary or somebody. And before you know it, I can't say anything as a parent again, because over time, I allowed my children to be taking these things and not, as we would say when I was growing up, docking your back with it. Go give it back to who gave it to you.
Lady D, I want to say this to you. You're perfectly right. There's many studies that show that crime develops from a biopsychosocial position. Very few people are born criminals. Some are psyched into it, but we are products of our environment. So therefore, the children live in what they know, live what they learn, live what they see. And this is a big problem in Jamaica. And unfortunately, when we were growing up, or fortunately, we had a system whereby people in the village were accountable, at least certainly where I was. And if they did something, you better believe it that my parents would know about it, or my parent would know about it. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, if you ever go and say something about a child, or some of these so-called parents, you won't live to talk about it the next day.
Right.
And this is really very, very sad. So, and in fact, teachers have been attacked in the schools and what have you. And I'm not putting all the blame on the parents, because some people have to, have tried. But unfortunately, there are other influences in the area which they follow, right? And they don't, though you teach them the right and wrong, they follow the wrong, and they don't understand that until they're caught what the consequences are. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying to you, we have to find a way to do more community, have more community relationships. We have to have the churches go in there. We have to have all different entities, like this, what have you, go in there and interact with social intervention in order to change this paradigm. There's a gentleman that I'm going to talk about in Negril. I think I mentioned it some time ago. He has a program called Negril Education Trust or something. In the Minister Wellington. And, you know, they take children for a month or two with their parents into a training session. And they don't do it without the parents. And after that time, they teach them civics, they teach them about honesty and all the various things that they have to teach them about. And these children, none of them have committed themselves in the time that they've been around for 20 years. So I'm saying that if we could expand this type of program, because it's difficult for a person who's working to do all of this, but they have to spend time trying to help the children, and like how we're trying to help them. So I think that's the answer, really. You know, a person just doesn't become wild and so on. Music, by the way, that they're listening to, and all that sort of influence outside really can affect them, and has affected them. So we have to, as a society, we have to try to clean up from everywhere. It's not just one place, from everywhere.
Thank you. Let us go to the phone line. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Lady D.
Good
and dear
afternoon.
guest.
Good afternoon, Ed. Welcome.
Yes, I'm in Macribly, Cynthia, as usual.
Yes, sir.
But our problem in Jamaica, Lady D, is a lot of different things. A lot of different things. But I blame the politicians mostly. Because all those guys here, they control the corner certain here. They are dance, they work with the politicians.
Okay.
And to run a police, like the commissioner, you can't take a guy off the street or coming from college and send him to do that work. The police supposed to know about police work by starting in the training school and being promoted to commissioner. You just get somebody you know, and that's what's going on with the politicians.
So you feel that they're being placed in positions where they have no, is it experience?
They don't have experience, lady.
All right, Ed. Any other comment?
No, I just listen.
Who wants to? You have something else to say, so I can ask one of our panelists to
because
address
all
your
lady, I
concern.
cannot hear because there's some noise.
You're hearing noise?
Noise, yeah.
Oh, it's
Somebody
not on my
talking
end.
We're having a bad connection or something there.
No. I just listen, lady.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
It's clear on my end.
Lady D.
I think somebody has a radar or two on,
Okay, go ahead.
and that's the problem.
All right, who would like to go first? Is there another caller before we take any other?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi, Lady D.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Bye. Good. It's two people are talking at the same time.
Not at this time. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. My concern. Oh, I'm hearing a feedback. Anyways, my concern here is that maybe Captain Francis can answer this one.
Yes.
It's like 10 years ago in the Tivoli incursion,
Yes.
the Jamaica government trained the soldiers to do a certain job. And first, let me introduce myself. My name is Douglas. I'm calling from Toronto, Canada.
Hello, Douglas. Welcome.
Yeah, and Captain Francis, I know him very well. He was my officer in command when I joined the Jamaica Defense Force.
Okay.
I know Mr. Safford Grant very well. I am the past president of the Jamaica Ex-Soldiers Association in Toronto.
All right. Thank
So
you.
my concern here is the Jamaica government trained the soldiers to do a job. And 10 years ago, when the incursion into Valley, the Jamaica government sent in the soldiers to take care of the problem. They went in and they took care of the problem. And after that, there was an inquiry in the incident that took place down there. And after that, the general that was in charge of the army, something happened. The inquiry recommend that, the panel of inquiry recommend that he don't get another government job in Jamaica. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe Captain Francis can answer me on this one and clear me up on it. And if they did that, how can the government have a lid on crime when the gunmen won that incursion into Valley?
Okay. Captain Francis?
I cannot understand. Maybe Captain Francis can clear me up on this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Captain
Hello?
Francis, would you like to address this concern?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Lady.
Lady D?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Yes. I was.
All right. Hold on a moment. Captain Francis, were you hearing the gentleman's
Yes.
concern?
Yeah, I heard him. I heard him.
All right,
yes.
go ahead and respond. And just for FYI, everyone, I have 5 minutes to go. The show ends at 7:00. Go ahead, Captain.
Yeah, Lady D, let me explain something that a lot has happened in the military and the police, and we have always articulated that we should keep politics out of the military and the police.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate that on that occasion, it seems to have been a political move that should never have happened. We never, in all my years in the military, had anybody who was overtly political. And, everybody has a leaning of some side, but not overtly. If anyone is moved because of politics, that is wrong, and it's setting a bad precedent. But I can say this from the military point of view, that we have been almost perfect in our administration of justice from our perspective. Remember that we are acting in aid of the civil power. We cannot act on our own, but we support the police. And so whatever the police leads, then we follow, literally. And so that's what happened. Now, I can't speak to that particular case. I would have to investigate it, and I'd have to come back, and I'd have to give you a answer to this.
Okay.
But I can assure you that the time that I spent there and Stafford spent there, that one of the things that we're known for was fairness and parity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
All
That's
right.
what I'm going to say on that.
So as we are wrapping up, now that we have had this discussion, hold on a moment, please. Now that we have had this discussion, how do you recommend, Dr. Francis, that we go forward in making an appeal from the Jamaican diaspora to the government of Jamaica?
Well, honestly, Lady D, I will say to you right here and now, you have begun the conversation. What we need to do now is to continue the conversation. We need to broaden our net, as it were, and we need to demonstrate to the Jamaican government that we have the will, we have the ability, and we have the hope to be able to assist them in whatever area of crime they want to resolve. And we are following a model which is eclectic. We don't need another crime plan. What we need is engagement that the government of Jamaica and powers that be seek help from us, because we have the ability to help them. And that is without any reservation or hesitation.
Okay. Thank you, Captain Francis. We have one last caller. You have 1 minute. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I would like to find if you can pee,
Pardon me?
if little boy can pee,
If what?
if the little boy went
Oh,
to photography.
I really don't know about that. Hortense?
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you for calling, my love. I'm not sure how that works. I don't know. I haven't even wrapped my head around that, so I wouldn't be able to answer you. I don't know how that, if they had to insert a tube or something, I don't know.
Lady D, can I make a
Yes.
suggestion that we find a way of communicating off air so that we can develop a strategy as to where we will go from here.
Yes, certainly.
And that's my suggestion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All righty, ladies and
You're welcome.
gentlemen, it is 1 minute to 7 o'clock. I would like to thank our guests, Captain Francis, Stafford Grant, and of course Oswald Robinson for joining us. Mr. Wilby, your closing sentence before we go. Chris? Okay, I'm not hearing Mr. Wilby. But Stafford, would you just like to say a 1 second thank you and goodbye?
Yes, I would like to say thanks for having us, and I hope we have more time that we could get more into some of the issues that we are facing here in Jamaica and how we can counter it. But hopefully another time, and I wish each and every one of your listeners a safe and restful night. So hopefully next time we'll get a chance that we can have more questions come in and we can express more of our problems and so we can solve it in Jamaica.
All right, thank you so much. Is Oswald Robinson still on?
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me on, Lady D, and the discussion was very solid.
All right.
It was very valid.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. Have yourselves a wonderful Monday evening.
Thank you, same to you.
Okay.
Lady D, all the very best.
All the
Bye-bye now.
best. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for Keeping You in the Know, a special edition, Part 2, Prevention and Action, Addressing Crime in Jamaica. Our guests were Captain Dr. Rupert Francis, Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force, Stafford Grant, Sector Chair, Jamaica Diaspora Northeast USA Crime and Citizen Security, and Oswald Robinson, President of the Jamaica Ex-Police Association, the Bronx Chapter. Mr. Chris Wilby, are you there? Okay, I guess something happened there, but I'd like to say thanks to everyone who tuned in this afternoon. This has been another edition of the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. It's brought to you by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx, and I'm so looking forward to being back with you on Thursday. In center stage, I do have an artist, O'Dane Roden, and in my author's corner, I will be talking with Andreen Bonner with her very captivating story, Long Walk to Cherry Gardens. The book has me in from high to low. I tell you, wonderful, and it ought to be very interesting talking to Andreen. So I'm looking forward to being here. Thanks to Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. And to you, my YouTubers, thank you for staying with me. All those from Penance, want to say hi. Also from Canada and Georgia, and everyone, Betty, who tuned in, Yvette, Pat, Junior Doug, Andrea in Barbados, and all my friends and everyone who tuned in. We appreciate you. And to the audience of 104.5, 101.7, signradio.net, and CaribbeanVibesRadio.com. Have yourselves a wonderful Monday. As always, love yourselves, love your children, and remember, in everything that you do, it is the will of God concerning your life. A lot of love, a lot of blessing, a lot of great new experiences for you in this season of your life. Blessings, everyone. Take it easy now and don't do anything that I would have to pull my strap out for. Okay? Blessings to all of you.
Standing across the room, I saw you smile. I said I wanna talk to you for a little while. But before I make my move, my emotions start running wild.
Number one radio station.
They play the best music.
Number one. Best music for your listening pleasure.
Come to rule, and we have the angle, the tackle, and we have the tool. Yeah, man, Sanchez, I keep it locked. Linkage.
There are radio stations within the air, but to this, none can compare. Trying to figure what to think, because now with us, you're fully linked. Stay linked to Linkage Radio, your home for entertainment.
This station rules the nation.